You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show on this Thursday, December 18th, 2014. Alex Jones is going to be joining us live from the road today and be joining us in this hour in the next segment. We're going to talk about probably what's going on in Washington State. We have our reporters are going to be there joining us in the third hour. And, of course, that's the MRAP controversy that erupted this last weekend when a person there in Washington said, why do you need this, after they explained what it was? And they said, well, we need it for the constitutionalists. We need it for people who are stockpiling weapons. What are we supposed to do about the police departments that are stockpiling weapons and identifying themselves now? As we just heard in the last half hour, we talked to Paul Joseph Watson about his story that's up on Infowars.com about the California Highway Patrol, the largest law enforcement organization in the country at the state level, identifying themselves as a paramilitary organization, saying, is this job right for you? Anybody that is going to apply for a job there, and they say, do you want to be a part of a paramilitary organization? Do you have a lot of military experience that you can use as a highway patrol in California? Is this really where it's gone? Do we have a paramilitary police force? They say they are in California. And, of course, I guess that means we've got a para-police state. Now, we also got some news from the banks. The banks are now urging clients to take their cash elsewhere. This is a story that came out about 10 days ago from the Wall Street Journal, saying that banks are now urging their largest customers in the U.S. to take their cash elsewhere or be slapped with fees, citing new regulations that make it onerous for them to hold certain deposits. And, of course, it's the usual suspects, J.P. Morgan, Chase, Citigroup, HSBC, Bank of America, what they're going to do, and this is the amount of money they're going to charge customers: $500 monthly account maintenance fee for demand deposits and a $25 charge per paper statement. Do you see how this is starting to lay the groundwork for a bail-in, tapping people's bank accounts, preparing people for this? This is something that was reported on this last summer. We reported that some people who had brokerage accounts were getting a leveraged fee. This individual here, Michael Lombardi, pointed out on Profit Confidential, he said that he got a letter from his dad in June from his stock brokerage account saying that if his retirement account, and this is his dad who's 87 years old, they sent him a letter saying, if your retirement account gets below $125,000, you're going to get a yearly fee of $500. Now they're looking at charging big customers $500 a month just for having cash in the bank. And he points out one of the reasons that they're doing this is because the banks have too much money on hand. And, of course, they're getting these regulations from Washington that were supposed to control the banks. How's that working out for us? I don't think that's working out too well. They just gave the banks FDIC insurance, and we see that even when they come after them with some regulations, of course, that money is just simply going to get passed on to, those fines are going to get passed on to their customers, and then that's going to get passed on through the marketplace. You can't stop it from that standpoint. The problem is there's too much money and power in Washington, and the banks are the ones who are best positioned to leverage that to their advantage. The banks and the multinational corporations, they can easily buy these politicians, as we just saw with this repeal of the Dodd-Frank bill, which tried to separate the FDIC insurance from their more speculative investments. But he's pointing out that through the quantitative easing, they have a lot of money on hand. They don't need that. And they're also going to get fined with these new regulations coming online. So that's what's happening. The banks are going to start charging people for keeping money in the bank. Now, another absurd story, I guess it's coming up, is we've got this fight. As we were talking about earlier this week, we were talking about Vladimir Putin. We now see that there's a fight on as to who owns the North Pole. And I think this is very appropriate just 1 week from Christmas. This is something that Sony may want to do for their next movie, since they're struggling with concepts. Maybe they could have a Santa Claus meets Beverly Hillbillies. You know, he discovers black gold, and it's a real fish out of water. Who's he going to pay his taxes to? Is it going to be Denmark? Is it going to be Russia? Maybe the UN? We don't know. They're all fighting over the resources in the Arctic. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Alex Jones.
2015 is almost here, and with it comes those New Year's resolutions to finally transform your body the way you want it. There's a reason over 88% of New Year's resolutions fail. Make this year different by equipping yourself with Oxy Powder, the next level in cleansing the body naturally. Using super oxygenation, Oxy Powder, available through InfoWarsLife.com, gently cleanses the body while you sleep with easy capsules. InfoWars Nightly News Director Rob Dew has been using Oxy Powder with incredible success.
Took it that first day, then I took it for 6 more days after that. 12 pounds melted off in about a week. I'd say a week, 7 days. And I've been able to keep it off, too. My wife is like, wow, you look really good. And I'm like, I know. I guess it's this Oxy Powder.
2015 can be different. Diet and exercise are important, but a lot of us have already tried that. Oxy Powder flushes it out. Secure your Oxy Powder at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with Super Male or Super Female Vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
Sold out for weeks due to the difficult and extensive proprietary process behind its creation, the exclusive InfoWars Life Secret 12 formulation is now back in stock in the last limited shipment of 2014. The most bioactive form that has been created with our proprietary process. This ultra-clean vitamin B12 nutraceutical has been carefully crafted and developed over the last 2 years and is based on cellular science of how your body actively absorbs essential nutrients. Secret 12 is taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Vitamin B12 deficiency is linked to scores of serious problems. And Secret 12 is a fusion of 2 organic proprietary forms of vitamin B12, bringing you a true nutraceutical quality vitamin B12. Secret 12. Secret 12 is an excellent Christmas gift and is tailor-made to boost your New Year's resolutions. Supplies of Secret 12 are very limited. Secure yours today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host today in Austin. Alex is going to be joining us on the road in just a moment via phone. Before we do, of course, we have a lot of news about Obama's move towards Cuba. Kurt Nimmo has an interesting take on it. He says Obama's Cuba move is more Democrat voters. A wave of new impoverished immigrants may soon arrive in America. There's also an article up by Steve Watson. Castro urges Obama to embrace his inner dictator by lifting the embargo via executive action. Here's that clip from Castro Jr., Castro's brother.
The President of the United States can change the enforcement thereof under his executive branch powers. We propose to the United States government to take mutual measures for the improvement of our bilateral climate and move forward towards normalization of ties between our countries.
That's right. From one dictator to another, this is what you can do. You can take executive action. You can call it a memoranda if you want. You don't even have to write anything up or sign it, as Jerome Corsi pointed out. You can just speak it, and it becomes the law. That's what a dictator does. Now, we had a story up that was on Infowars.com yesterday. A federal judge said Obama's amnesty is unconstitutional. He was swatted down by federal judge Arthur J. Schwab, issued a scathing memo. According to the Washington Times, he's said to have accused Obama of, quote, usurping and dismantling Congress's power. And it's not just Congress's power. He's usurping and dismantling the Constitution. He has not only said that he's going to act alone with amnesty and open borders, he's also said that we're going to see this in the new year, even with the increased majority of the Republicans. He said there's nothing that they can or will do to stop him as he shuts down energy production. And of course, he said before he even got elected, he was going to shut down the coal industry and much of our other power generation in this country in the name of global warming. And of course, we're not going to go into that right now. Let's go back to this immigration, this judge calling his immigration move unconstitutional. This is a decision that came in a criminal case against a Honduran immigrant named Juarez Escobar. That's his last name. He'd been deported before. He returned to the U.S. and was facing charges of unlawful reentry after a drunk driving arrest. So it's a revolving door where they send people out, they bring them back. And the judge was saying that no, he really did need to be deported, not given some kind of executive clemency. He says this goes beyond prosecutorial discretion because, A, it provides for a systematic and rigid process by which a broad group of individuals will be treated differently than others based upon an arbitrary classification rather than case-by-case examination. And B, it allows undocumented immigrants who fall within these broad categories to obtain substantive rights. Yes, things like access to Social Security that the Republican Congress just signed on to. Where do we stop this Cloward and Piven destruction of America? And it also speaks to the kind of corruption that we see in the Obama administration. There was a New York Times article that came out 2 days ago as well. An Ecuador family wins favors after donating to the Democrats. They point out the Obama administration overturned a ban preventing a wealthy, politically connected Ecuadorian woman from entering the U.S. after her family gave tens of thousands of dollars to Democrat campaigns. She'd been fraudulently obtaining visas for her maids, and it was set up and approved at the request of the State Department under guess who? Hillary Clinton, of course. Now, this is a family. These people have been investigated by federal law enforcement agencies on suspicion of money laundering and immigration fraud. You know, kind of like the big banks, HSBC, UBS. They investigate them. They say it really wouldn't be in our interest to put these people in jail, so let's just give them a slap on the wrist and do nothing. And so here's a lady, their family has been doing money laundering like our big banks. Immigration fraud has made hundreds of thousands of dollars, however, to American political campaigns in recent years. And the Obama administration has allowed the heads of the family, the patriarchs, to remain in the U.S., refusing to extradite them to Ecuador. Ecuador, that's interesting because there's a back and forth between Ecuador and the United States over Julian Assange as well. They said the two brothers were sentenced in absentia in Ecuador in 2012 to 8 years in prison, accused of running their bank. Oh, they're bankers. What a surprise. Running their bank into the ground and then presenting false balance sheets of profit in order to get bailout funds. The usual MO, isn't it? Ecuador says that the fraud cost the country $400 million. Ecuador is a very small country. $400 million is huge there. And, of course, they point out that this is something that is also part of the back and forth between the standoff and the Ecuadorian embassy in London that is giving sanction to Julian Assange. They say that for more than a year, and this goes beyond Obama, it goes beyond Hillary Clinton, whose State Department tried to waive the rules for this lady. For more than a year, Senator Robert Menendez, a Democrat of New Jersey, has had his staff engaged in a relentless effort to help this fraudulent bankster family, their daughter, to get into the country. Now, I mentioned Julian Assange, and earlier this week we were looking to see if the sentencing hearing for U.S. journalist Barrett Brown was going to happen this week. They said it was going to be released yesterday or today. They've now moved that into sometime in January 2015. But there was an interesting statement on WikiLeaks from Julian Assange, and he kind of lays out what's going on with Barrett Brown. Of course, one of the aspects that I thought was completely outrageous about this was they came after him because he linked to some leaked data on WikiLeaks. And because of the link